Hello. I'm going to do a modern wreath demo today. And if any of you have done the modern kits from different season, is this going to be the same method? But I wanted to update what we're going to be doing for winter because the recipe has changed slightly. So in your kit, you will receive some gold wire as well as the frame. And then I kept with a little bit more of the greens that you want to use when they're fresh or preserved, or the ones that will dry pretty nicely. So you're definitely going to get some winter greens in there, some pine fir or possibly cedar. It could change slightly just depending on the day that you order them. And then I really like using fresh eucalyptus, either the berries or the baby eucalyptus, but then it dries really nicely once you add it to the frame. So you do want to keep it in water until you're going to use it. And then some other fun things you may find, some preserved white ruscus, maybe some blueberry cedar, possibly some magnolia, maybe some white preserved silver dollar eucalyptus. So it's gonna kind of change a little bit daily, but you will receive about 4 items to then attach to your frame. So we pre-cut them what we think would work nicely, but if you have clippers handy, it's a great idea to keep those close by if you want to trim up. We are doing a half style on the frame, so I'm only going to be working with half of the frame. But if you wanted to do a full all the way around but with smaller branches, you probably have enough. Or if you want to do a little bit wingier, feel free to experiment a bit with that. So I'm going to pre-cut some pieces about this size, maybe about the size of like my hand. Today I'm going to use some cedar, some fresh baby eucalyptus, and some berries. And then you can also, if you have a glue gun handy, the white ruscus can work really nicely with glue gun. You may receive some shorter pieces, or I might just trim off half stem for you. So keep that in mind. You can always break apart if you get a ruscus. Usually a lot of these have little bits that you can break off. So what I like to do is I like to look at all of the items that I have and place them a little bit of a mock placement onto a table so that I'm looking at it, or you could do it on the floor too, but just so that you can kind of play around with shape and design a little. So I'll put it down and then I'll look at it from above, and I'll work a little bit with placement. I usually start with some cedar laying down first, and then maybe I'll do a little bit of the eucalyptus berries, just placing it on where I think I would like how it's gonna look. I'm gonna come up a little closer. And then I would stagger a few above or below, just kind of thinking, oh, how would I like this to look on my door once it's complete. So that'll be before you attach anything. I may include some cones for you too. If you find anything in your yard, that sometimes you can find some really cool different looking pine cones. So feel free to do a little foraging if you have a yard or park close by. Maybe do some on the down low. I'm not sure how much you're allowed to cut. Okay, and so after I kind of have a basic plan of where I'm going to go, is it going to be on the left side of the frame? Is it going to be on the bottom, on the right side? How I think I want to hang it. Then you take your gold wire, and you would have gotten about 3-meter sticks, but you want to cut it into some smaller pieces before you start attaching. So I would cut And don't lose it. Put it in somewhere a safe spot. It gets lost very easily amongst the greeneries. So I've got a piece probably about the span of my hand, maybe from wrist to elbow. I'm going to pre-cut a bunch of these so that I've got them ready to go. And then I'm just going to start with one layer. So I'm going to start with the cedar and the baby eucalyptus. And I'm going to make a little bundle. And I'm going to wrap my gold wire just so it stays together. You can knot it if you want, but basically you just want to wrap it around so it's bundled nicely. And then, oh, one more thing I forgot. Often the frames have a little knot. So you can start at that point. It actually works really good. You can even take a little bit of the gold wire and wrap it around the knotted connector piece area first. That just gives you some good guideline where you want to start. And then the rest of the frame is quite slippery. So that really helps so that you keep your first bundle where you want it to be. And then I'm going to hold up my bundle of eucalyptus and cedar, and the tie that I just tied around my bundle there. I'm going to tie that around the frame a few times and the greens. And then I'm going to tie it in a knot like a thread. Now this might twist around a little bit to start with. That's okay. But you just want to have a good starting point. And then now I'm going to start doing another layer of the cedar and the baby eucalyptus. And you can decide if you want to kind of be going up or if you kind of want to be going down. But either way, I like to point my greeneries in the same direction. So for example, if I've started pointing the cedar and the eucalyptus pointing up, I'll call it, I'm going to then go to add another bundle, but the point of those cedars is going in the same direction. So I personally am not going to be crisscrossing so that the pointed cedars go in opposite directions, but if you have a creative vision, you go. So I'm going to layer it next to that one in the same manner. I've wrapped the gold wire around here first, and then I hold it up to my frame, and then you can kind of catch the previous bundle too, and then you're going to wrap it with your gold wire and knot it. Okay? So now once you feel like you've gotten the base going with, I would choose two, some of the larger flat cedar, some of the taller eucalyptus is a good place to kind of start. You then want to think about your next layer. And so maybe you have the berries and the ruscus. So this is going to be my next layering. And I'm going to trim them a little bit more. But again, if you like a really wingy look, I have a few photos up on the website, and all of them might be a little slightly different just because everyone's creative expression is so different. But I'm going to bundle up the berry and the ruscus, and then I'm going back to where I started for that first bundle with the cedar and the eucalyptus, and I'm going to layer that right on top. And then the same method, I'm going to wrap the gold wire around, give it a nice knot, and then I'm going to continue layering on top of the seeded eucalyptus or the cedar and the baby eucalyptus, more layers of the berries and the ruscus. So hopefully that helps you kind of get a little bit of the pattern and the technique fastening with the gold wire. Feel free to get the hot glue out, especially for that ruscus if you have a few little bits and pieces that you want to find a spot for. I will include some ribbon as well I personally just like a tail. I don't like anything too bowy on the modern style, but you can feel free to make a bow if you want, or else I take the ribbon, fold it in half, and I believe this is actually a macrame stitch. Put the loop on one side, feed it through, and pull on it, and then you've just got some really cute little tails. Okay, so head to my YouTube channel, also my IGTV. I did the spring version of this in a long IGTV live, so you'll see a little bit more of the method in some of the other videos if you need to watch it over a few times. But the key steps are to lay out, have a plan, to get that gold wire in smaller pieces, tie it to the bundle and then onto the frame and layer it on top of your form. And then once you're done that, you can hang it outside. It will freeze and stay perfectly. If you want to keep it inside, that's totally fine too. It will start to dry a little bit. I find the white preserved ruscus stays really, really, really nice. So the red berries will keep their color really nice, but they may start to dry a little bit. And definitely the cedar and baby eucalyptus is going to keep its color but shrivel a tiny bit, but you'll be totally fine. This is a great option for a condo or inside your home, and it'll stay super nice until Christmas. So happy wreathing. Please tag me in your photos and stay safe.